Okay, so yesterday we learned how to make the cake, which we talked about. It's a tool for a lot of different things. And so today we're going to focus on the equivalent expressions part of that. So I'm going to step right into an example that I just want you to watch. So let's say that I gave you this problem. I want everybody to put your pencils down for a minute, okay, so you can hear. Put your pencil down. Thank you. Okay, so let's say I gave you this problem, 12 plus 16. Okay, you would take it and you would probably do something like this. Maybe when my thing works. There we go. You would go 12 plus 16. 2 plus 6 is 8. 1 plus 1 is 2. 28. Okay? And that's a correct answer, of course. That's what you've learned and that's what you would do. But I'm going to ask you today to do something a little bit different with it. And that is what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite it as an equivalent expression. So when I say equivalent, what does that word equivalent mean? It means equal, right? So something that equals. So our answer is still going to equal 28. We're just going to write it differently. And you may be thinking, I see no point in this activity, which I totally understand. But you will in the future because this is actually a step towards algebra. So this is just something they want you to learn that helps you understand how algebra works. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite 12 plus 16 in a way that is equivalent. Equal means the same thing. Will still give us an answer of 28. But we're going to rewrite it by taking out the greatest common factor from both of those two numbers. Okay, so that's all we're going to do. So here's how it looks. I'm going to make the cake. So let's do it together. What's the smallest number that divides into 12 and 16?
2.
Good. So this is 6 and 8, right? And so I'm going to just bring down that plus sign. Okay, that's the only difference between today and yesterday. I'm just going to rewrite it with the plus sign. Okay, common factors between 6 and 8. 2 again. It goes 3 and 4. Common factors between 3 and 4.
1.
Just 1, right? Oops, that didn't work. Come on, there we go. All right, so we have now at the bottom 3 plus 4. And we have our greatest common factor. That's this right here, right?
Yeah.
You remember that from yesterday. So what is 2 times 2 times 1? 4. So you're going to rewrite it in this form. So there's a number on the outside. There's some parentheses. And then the two numbers on the inside. The two numbers on the inside are these two numbers right here. 3 plus 4. Okay, because all we did was we took 12 and 16. We took out the greatest common factor, which is 4. And then we wrote that outside of parentheses. Now, let's see if this equals the same as we got before, 28. Okay, that's our goal, is it needs to equal the same amount. Then we know we did it correctly. So, if we were to follow order of operations, I'm going to write this in a way that may look a little more familiar to you without all those big lines. So, what do we do first in this kind of problem?
The parentheses.
The parentheses. So, we're going to add,
3 plus 4.
thank you, 3 plus 4 and get 7. Now, who knows, who has already learned what that means when you see a number next to parentheses? Okay, a few of you. Okay, ooh, not many. Okay, so I'm going to tell you this is very, very important that you know because this is going to keep going. Whenever you see a number and it's next to parentheses and there's no symbol, there's no add, subtract, multiply, or divide right here, you're always going to multiply. So when you see a number next to parentheses, you're going to multiply. Okay? So this really means what is 4 times 7? What is 4 times 7? Did we get the same answer?
Yes.
So we got the same answer both ways, so we know we did it correctly. So all we did was we took 12, let me change colors here so you can see this a little easier. We took 12 plus 16 and we rewrote an equivalent expression that was 4 times 3 plus 4. That's all we did. So here's your how-to. You make the cake, find the greatest common factor. That's what goes on the outside. Then the inside is those two numbers with an add or subtract in between them. So let's do this one together. This one's on your note page, on your doodle notes. Find it, okay? And let's do this one together. All right, so let's start with this. You don't have to write this piece on your paper, but I'm just going to do it off to the side. What is 60 minus 45? It's going to be 15. Okay, so we know our answer is going to be 15. That's kind of our check to make sure we did it correctly. So what's the next thing we're going to do is make our cake. So draw your cake. And what is the smallest number that divides into 60 and 45?
3.
It's 3. So let's divide it, just like yesterday. 3 into 60 and 45. Okay, so 3 goes into 60 how many times? Write this with me.
20.
20. Minus, how many times does 3 go into 45?
15.
15. All right, common factors between 20 and 15? 5, good. 5 goes into 20 how many times?
4.
And how about 15?
3.
3. Common factors between 4 and 3?
1.
Only the number 1. So we finished making our cake. Now we just need to rewrite it on the bottom. So this makes up our greatest common factor. 3 times 5 times 1 is?
15.
And then underneath the, inside of the parentheses, we have 4 minus 3. All right, let's check it and see if that works. So we have 15 parentheses 4 minus 3. What is 4 minus 3? 1. So we have 15 times 1. Is that equal? So they equal the same, so we got it right. Okay, so we just worked this problem, 20 plus 40. 20 plus 40 is 60. So then we worked it out. We made our cake. 20 should have been your greatest common factor. Raise your hand if you got that. Great. And then you have 1 plus 2. So let's do that math really quickly. 1 plus 2 is 3. 20 times 3 is 60. So we know that we got it right.